Welcome to Kelly's Complex in Portrush with North Coast Trad. We're going to have an evening of music for you and I hope you're all ready to enjoy yourselves. But before we start, I just want to give a short introduction to the vibrant musical heritage we have in this area. And there's no better man to start off with than Sam Henry, a Korean man. And he was a bit of a Renaissance figure. He was an archivist, a folklorist, a photographer. He played the fiddle and he played the whistle. But Sam spent his time avidly going round Ulster and collecting songs from the people. And his collection, Songs of the People, is globally renowned and sourced by musicians everywhere. In the 70s, 80s and 90s, with the Irish language students studying at Ulster University in Korean, they brought in a whole new repertoire. And the Thursday nights in the Harbour Bar would be filled with music, the Three Snugs, with different musicians ranging from Robbie Hannon, Gary Hastings, Maurice Bradley, Seamus Quinn, Ethne Houlihan, Gabriel McCardle, and they all were singing and playing, and people here loved their music. After that, then, we had the local people who carried up the arms, myself, my sister Kathleen Niwachana, Emer Murphy, Johnny Vance, Reggie McCauley, Brian Farthing. We would play in bars all over the town and all over the area. In fact, there was sessions in the Harbour Bar, in Rogues, in Springhill, in the Alpha Bar, and over in Portstewart in the Anchor and the Portstewart Arms. So there was music everywhere in the North Coast, which was fantastic. Local man who was featured in all of these sessions was John Moulden. And John Moulden actually followed in the steps of Sam Henry and created his own archive, which has also been globally renowned and sourced by many musicians. Dick Glasgow as well, brilliant, tirelessly teaching in the area, Ulster, Scots and Irish traditional music. And now with the return of Deirdre Havlin and the Causeway Trad session, music has never been so vibrant in the North Coast. Deirdre plays regularly with her friends, the McMullins, Steve Iveson and Alicia McGarry in the Springhill Bar on Thursday nights, the York Hotel in Portstewart on Fridays, and also in the Cremore Halt. So this evening, folks, we're going to start off with a group of young adults from North Coast Trad. Molly Byrne on fiddle, Donal Meehan on keyboards and accordion, Dominic Meehan on uilleann pipes, and Owen McGregor on the small pipes. And they're going to play a set of 3 sets of tunes. And one of the sets of tunes is from a project that we're currently doing in collaboration with Fast Trad in Portadown. And it's exploring Irish traditional and Ulster Scots heritage. And after that, myself will be joined by my husband, Martin Meehan on flute, Niall Hanna on vocals and guitar, and my son, Patrick Meehan, on bodhrán. And also Owen McGregor will join us for a tune as well. So sit back and relax, folks, and I hope you have a brilliant evening.
Hi, we're from North Coast Trad and we're going to be playing 3 jigs, starting with After the Morning. now we're going to be finishing off with 3 reels.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Thanks so much to our young adults from North Coast Trad. I'm sure you'll agree with me that that was absolutely class. Thanks to Molly Byrne on fiddle, Donal Meehan on keys and accordion, Dominic Meehan on uilleann pipes, and Owen McGregor on the small pipes. So we're going to continue tonight with a set of reels, and we're going to play Farewell to Connacht first, and then Major Fedoras. Okay?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you.
going to continue now with 3 jigs. The first one's called Kid O'Mahony's, the second one's Dooney Rock, and the last one is called Oh Hag, You've Killed Me. And it's an old tune that was recorded by the Bossy Band.
Thanks very much. We're going to continue now with a very old traditional song called Bonnie Portmore, and it's a song about Portmore Loch, which is just to the east of Loch Ness, and the song is sort of a lament for a large oak tree that had fell on the shores of the loch, and that oak tree is sort of symbolic for the great oak forests that covered Ireland at that time. So it's a very old song called Bonnie Portmore. Oh, Bonnie Portmore, you shine where you stand, and the more I think on you, the more I think long. If I had you now, as I had once before, all the gold in old England would not purchase Portmore. Oh, Bonnie Portmore, I am sorry to see such a woeful destruction of your ornament tree, for it stood on your shore for many's a long day, till the longboats from Antrim came to float it away. All the birds in the forest, they bitterly weep, saying, where will we shelter, or where shall we sleep? For the oak and the ash, they are all cut and done, and the walls of Bonnie Portmore are all done to the ground. Oh, Bonnie Portmore, you shine where you stand, and the more I think on you, the more I think long. If I had you now, as I had once before, all the gold in old England would not purchase Portmore. All the gold in old England would not purchase Portmore.
Thanks, Niall. We're going to continue now with the waltz. It's a tune that was recorded by the fantastic fiddle player Ali Bain, Scottish fiddle player, and it's played a lot over in Scotland, obviously. But we learnt it from a very close friend of ours called Robert McLean from Katie. And I'd like to play this for Robert and Sheila Nawari, who I haven't seen in a long time now. Obviously, with the COVID, we're all missing our family and friends. So we'd like to play this for you, and we'll look forward to catch up with you again soon.
So we're going to continue on now with the tune that I wrote called La Girona, and it's after the Spanish Armada in 1588. Philip II invaded England, and on the way, La Girona stopped in Killybegs Harbour to get its rudder fixed, and then it was sailing back to Scotland. However, when it was sailing back, it hit a mighty gale, and it blew it off course to these shores. And we know how tempestuous the waters can be around here. And there's one account that says the crew actually went out and started rowing La Girona, trying to control it. However, it met its fate at Lacata Point here and was smashed into pieces on the rocks. There was 1,300 approximately on board, and only 9 survived. So it was a massive loss of life. And you could only imagine the sort of grim sights of the bodies being washed ashore. Hundreds and hundreds of bodies washed ashore here. And recently an archaeological dig up in the once merchant town in Dunluce actually discovered a mass burial plot where they think a lot of the sailors were buried, just on the outskirts or in the graveyard of St. Cuthbert's Church. There was a 13th century church. So, history is very source-driven, but one thing it doesn't give you is that sorrow and that grief of loved ones maybe waiting at home for months, waiting for people to arrive home, and those people never coming home. So the tune, the air that I've written, is an account of that grief, but it's also the second part. I'm trying to sort of convey the impending storm or the impending gale that brought the La Girona down. So, La Girona.
Lovely stuff there from Sorha. We're going to continue now with a song, and in this part of the world, a lot of traditional songs were gathered by a great man called Sam Henry, and he spent a lot of his time going around the country and going around the north coast and further afield actually as well, collecting traditional songs from just normal people really over the years, and he eventually compiled all of his songs together, and it's in a great collection of songs called the Songs of the People, he called it. So this is one of the songs from that collection, and it's a well-known Ulster song, and it's called The Flower of Sweet Strabane. So I hope you like it. If I were king of Ireland and all things at my will, I'd roam for recreation, new comforts to find still. The comfort I would seek, for you all may understand, is to win the heart of Martha, the flower of sweet Strabane. Cheeks are like the roses red, her hair a lovely brown, and o'er her milk white shoulders it carelessly hangs down. She is the fairest creature in all of Ireland. My heart is captivated by the flower of sweet Strabane. I wish I had my darling way down in an Ishon, or in some lonesome valley in the wild woods of Tyrone. I'd do my whole endeavour, I'd work my newest plan to gain the heart of Martha, the flower of sweet Strabane. But since I cannot win your love, sure there's no joy for me. I will seek forgetfulness in the land across the sea. Unless you chance to follow me, I swear by my right hand, MacDonald's face you'll never see, fair flower of sweet Strabane. Adieu to bonny Lifford and to Morn's bright water side. For now I'm in America, whatever may betide. Sailing down Loch Foyle, brave boys, I'll wave my bonny right hand and bid adieu to Martha, she's the flower of sweet Strabane.
Thanks very much, Niall. The great Niall Hannah there singing. I really enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying it at home as well. So we're going to try a couple of reels now. First one's called Smash the Windows, which is a traditional Irish tune. And then we're going to try a Scottish reel after it. And this is a reel I learned, first heard originally in the 90s during the William Kennedy Piping Festival in Armagh. We had international pipers coming from all around the world. There's always a strong connection with Scotland and the Highland pipes. So Fred Morrison and Gordon Duncan had played this in Drumsill Hotel, and it kind of caught on very quickly, and a lot of local musicians learned it, including myself, and it started becoming part of a repertoire. And then later, it was recorded by Brian Finnegan with the band Fluke, and Niall Valley also recorded with the band called Nomos. So we're going to give these two reels a go anyhow. Okay.
Thanks, Martin. That was great. So now we're going to follow on with two jigs that I wrote. And if you haven't gone onto the Discover Portrush page, I think you should, because it's absolutely fascinating. It's so filled with maritime heritage, sporting heritage, cultural heritage, and you'll find about everything about the area. I actually browsed on it and found a little section on rock pools and animals that live in the rock pool. And this jig is actually named after one of those little fish, and it's called the rock Gobby fish. Now, it grows to about 12 centimetres long, and the female lays up to 7,000 eggs. And once she's done that, then the male comes in and lets her have a bit of a rest, and takes care of the eggs. But I also have, when you grew up here, once I seen the fish, or anyone who grows up by the shore as a child who spends hours looking through the rock pools, you'll know the fish immediately when you see it. So it's worth going on to look at it. But I actually am very interested in connecting animals with folklore, and I couldn't find a connection with the rock Gobby fish and Irish folklore, but I did find a Vietnamese connection with it. And the rock gobby actually appears in a very, very dark sort of version of Cinderella. It's about a little girl anyway who's living with her father and her mummy, and she's called Tam. And she's so happy, and life is just brilliant. But then her mummy dies, and then her dad remarries, and he remarries a woman, and she has a daughter called Cam. Now, they're both very, very wicked to poor Tam. They're not very nice at all, and they're very evil towards her, and they don't do anything, and poor Tam has to do everything. So one day, the wicked stepmother says, right, girls, go down to the shore and fetch me as many shrimp as you can for dinner, and whoever gets the most will win this beautiful red bodice. And Tam's going, right, that's it. I'm going to fly down here and get all the shrimp. So she works out, flat out, collecting shrimp all day at the shore, while Cam lies round sunbathing, doing nothing. So, come evening time, Tam turned her back and her basket was filled with shrimp. And what did Cam do? She stole it and brought it up to her stepmother, boasting about how many shrimp she had found. And she was given the beautiful red bodice, and she put it on, and she paraded around, and poor Tam cried and cried and cried. And then a little pixie appeared and went, don't be sad. He said, I'm going to give you a little friend. It's called a rock gobby. And you put him in your well, and when you want to meet him, go, rock gobby, oh gobby, come to me, and I will give you the silver and gold rice from my plate. And he said, every day, keep him a bit of your food and feed him. So she did this, and they became great friends, and she would say the rhyme every time, and the little fish would come up, and they were just such good company because her stepmother and her sister were just awful to her. But one day, the stepmother and Cam spied her, and they heard her doing the rhyme, and they seen what was happening, and they were so jealous that the next day the stepmother said, Tam, you must go and graze the buffalo in the faraway field. Of course, Tam, being a good girl, did this. And the mother and Cam went down to the well and said the rhyme, oh gobby, rock gobby, come to me and I will give you my silver and gold rice. And the little fish, so excited, thought, oh great. And he swam up and they plucked the fish out, gutted it and ate it. Now, there's more to the story, but it gets darker and it gets darker, but I just thought it was actually fascinating that the rock gobby appeared in one of those stories. So the first jig is called the rock gobby. The second jig is called Return to the Port, and this was named if you grew up in Portrush, you know about the Northwest Pipe Band Championships that are held annually, and round the town you'll see pockets of pipers sort of practicing by themselves. One of their main favourite spots was in the steps between Kerr Street and Mark Street. So you'd have these sporadic pipers practicing away. So this jig I wrote, I sort of just thought about a load of bagpipers on Ramore Head, and that's the kind of feeling it has behind it. So the rock gobby jig and the Return to the Port. thanks to Owen McGregor for joining me, and he's going to stay on for this last set. First of all, I would like to just thank Discover Portrush and the Department for Communities Heritage Fund and the National Lottery Heritage Fund for asking us to be part of this brilliant project. We're going to finish off now with a good lively song called Red Haired Mary. I hope you've enjoyed the evening as much as we have. It's been a pleasure to play music again, and thank you again to Discover Portrush.
While going to the fair of Dingle one fine morning last July, going up the road before me, a red-haired lass I chanced to spy. I went up to her, says I, young lady, my donkey he will carry too. Seeing as you have a donkey to Dingle Fair, I'll ride with you. Now when we reached the town of Dingle, I took her hand to say goodbye, when a tinkerman stepped up beside me, belted me in the left eye. Keep your hands off Red and Mary, her and I are to be wed. We'll see the priest this very morning, tonight we'll lie in a marriage bed. Keep your hands off Red and Mary, her and I are to be wed. We'll see the priest this very morning, tonight we'll lie in a marriage bed. Well, I was feeling kinda peevish, my poor old eye was sad and sore. I tapped him gently with my knuckles and he fell back through Murphy's door. A policeman came round the corner and told me I had broke the law. Then the donkey kicked him in the kneecap and he fell back and broke his jaw. So he went off to find his brother, the biggest man you'd ever meet. He tapped me gently with his knuckles and I was minus 2 front teeth. Keep your hands off Red and Mary, her and I are to be wed. We'll see the priest this very morning, tonight we'll lie in Murphy's shed. Keep your hands off Red and Mary, her and I are to be wed. We'll see the priest this very morning, tonight we'll lie in Murphy's shed. Red-haired lass, she kept on smiling. I'll go with you, young man, she said. We'll forget the priest this very morning, tonight we'll lie in Murphy's shed. Through the town we rode together, my black eye and her red hair, smiling gaily at the tinkers, and by God we were a handsome pair. Keep our hands off Red and Mary, her